You've stopped into another episode of Dad Crossing where myself, Nick, and my co-host Sean will have real, honest chats about the highs and lows of dad life. We'll laugh together at the craziness of parenting and the silliness of our kiddos, and we'll support each other through the challenges and tough decisions of fatherhood. Whether you're a seasoned granddad or a dad-to-be, we promise laughs, relatable, and sometimes raw talk, and expert help to tackle the tough issues. Not from Sean and me, but from the amazing guests we'll have on the show. So let's be dads crossing through life together.
I don't know. It linked to line the age-old question of like being a husband. Your wife's been out shopping, or you're out shopping with your wife, which is even worse because it puts you in a harder position because you're in like a public space.
Mm-hmm.
And they come out and they say, "Oh, does this look nice? Do I look good in this?" And you kind of go, "Yes, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You look great." And then they look at you and go, "Are you sure?" And it's like, "Yep, looks great. It's great." You're only saying that to hurry things up. No, I'm saying it because you look really nice. And then like they walk away and you kind of look at yourself and say, "Yeah, she don't like that."
Yeah, what you gonna say? I mean, yes is the right answer. Usually when she's like, "Does it really?" I was like, "Babe, you look good and everything." That's the lie. I was like, that's the line I usually go with. "Babe, you look good and everything." Just like, I mean, there's multiple facets here. One, I don't know shit about fashion, so sure, you look great. You look great.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're looking for like a fashion design question, I have no idea, none whatsoever. Like, it would be like me being like, "Hey, are those trusses aligned correctly, Beck? Can you let me know?" No, you're not gonna know. Just like I'm not gonna know if you look good. I have no idea. So it just is what it is. And the other thing is, like, legitimately, like, "Hey, you look good to me." Like, like you're my chosen one. Doesn't matter what you're in.
My usual question is when she says, "Does this look all right?" is, "Do you feel good in it?"
Oh, that's so good. That's a good one. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
that's a much more like honest answer than mine, which is like, well, it's not. Mine is honest, but it's like more helpful. That's the right way to say it. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like because you don't want to turn around and say, "No, that does not look good on you at all. It's not a good look for you." Because especially if they're doing this when they've got home, they've picked this item of clothing out because they want to look good. So they've obviously tried it on and felt good in it and looked in it, and then they get home and they're talking to you about it, and you're like, no, it's not for you. And they're like, thanks for that. Throw him a day.
Yeah, no. I don't think I've ever said that because I don't feel I'd ever be qualified to be like, yeah, that just looks awful on you. Like, one, you'd have to be a real jerk.
So no, that there for me is like the only lie as a husband you should be allowed to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I don't know. Is that the only one? Like, so this one's a little bit more dangerous because you might end up getting it every week. But like with food, sometimes it's like, sometimes just like, sure, that's great. And maybe it wasn't really great. But then that is a more dangerous one because then you're like, oh crap, I got it again.
Yeah.
Now we have it every Saturday. Dang it.
No, I'm honest with the food thing because like one of Lindsay's like, well, you've seen the baking pictures I've sent you. So one of the things that she really does is she really does enjoy cooking and knowing that she's good at cooking and baking. So when she does try something new, kind of thing, she will always do a feedback kind of thing for me. And if Jay is back with us as well, she'll ask Jay and I'll tell her, I'll be like, it was either too spicy or it was too solid. And I'll be honest because I don't want to have to eat bad food because I hate cooking. And she is my primary source of food.
She's my primary force. And that's true because I hate that because sometimes I'm like, do you really like this? Because I cook more than she does in the house. She bakes more than I do, but I cook for the family more than she does. And yeah, I hate it. I'm always like, do you really like it? Like, it's fine if you don't like it. I do that to Ariel all the time because Ariel's like, yeah, I like it. And then it just sits on the plate. And I'm like, I need to know the truth. If you don't like it, then I won't make it again. So, yeah, that's fair. I rescind that one.
So there are other safe lies that can be told. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to kids lying, it's not a completely different story, but it's a personality growth minefield because as we've just given two great examples of, lying is a useful tool in vocabulary in terms of being able to get you out of situations, being able to get you into situations. Like, you can lie in a job interview. You could get yourself a pretty decent job if you're good at learning on the fly.
Yeah.
They'll never know. If you're absolute ball and you don't learn good on the fly and you've lied about it, you're going to get found out. So,
I mean, nobody, if they're like, so are you a good people person? You're like, hell no. No, I suck at people. I hate them a lot. You're like, well, even if you're not, maybe you should just be like, yeah, I don't mind people. Find a way to say it that maybe isn't lying, but is like still ambiguous enough, like, I don't mind people. When they're
just glossing over slightly.
Yeah. And in your head, you're like, when they're 100 yards away from me and I don't know how to talk to them. But I mean, other than that, they're fine.
Look, I work shifts, so I work nights, so I aren't near people. So I know I don't do well with people. So no, it is a useful trait to have, being able to. Sounds awful when you say, especially when it comes to lying, that it's a useful trait to have. It's really hard to put this in a really positive spin, but knowing when to use it, the ability to lie, and knowing that there will be consequences of the lies that you tell, and understanding that some people may get hurt from them, is the useful side of knowing how to lie. Like kids saying, "Oh no, I didn't take a biscuit from the biscuit tin," sort of thing. It's like you know they have, because especially in the case of Logan, he's probably eaten 2 or 3, and he's got the remnants of Oreos in his teeth because that stuff's hard to brush out. So and you can pull them, but it's biscuits. At the end of the day, he's a step closer to cavities. The kid's got the metabolic rate of a racing snake, so he can eat and eat and eat and never gains weight. Lucky son of a gun. So like it there's no cause and effect really in that. Where other things like, did you knock that
like, did you knock something down or something like that?
Yeah, like, did you knock that vase over and smash the vase? And they're like, oh no, it wasn't me. And so, and then they're adamant it wasn't them, but it was, because number one, you're the only 2 people in the house, sort of thing, and it wasn't you, so it must have. That's where it becomes a problem, because they're trying to avoid the conflict and confrontation. So they're less worried about being found out about lying than they are the act of which they have lied about, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think the biscuit thing's a problem too. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I care that but like I wouldn't like send them to their room and let them not come out. But it would be like, you took a biscuit, man. This is what I usually tell Noah. Like, you took a biscuit. I don't really care. Just tell the truth. I do care that you lied about it. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna like send them to the room. But like, it's like it depends on how like little they are. Well, no, I don't think it really does. Like, if you ask them something like that, it's like, yeah, you took a biscuit. It's fine. It's fine. I don't really care. Just, I mean, even if you're not supposed to, if you're like, yeah, I ate a biscuit, be like, oh, you didn't need to do that. Like, I think it starts with that stuff, especially when they're young, because it becomes a bigger deal, right? Like, I mean, like, you get, like, what else are they going to do? No, they're not going to like take off with your car and hot rod around town. No, that's like a big deal to them. They wanted a biscuit and they just took it without. So I don't know. I think that part is still like, I don't know, a bit of a big deal. So
yeah, so going back to that then, with the biscuit thing, is the act of taking the biscuit isn't the thing that you're annoyed at. It's exactly the fact that you think that it's such a big deal that you took a biscuit without asking, that you had to lie about it. That's and we've had conversations. I've had conversations with Emily, I've had conversations with Jay, and I've had conversations with Logan. Like, you're in more trouble because you lied about you've not told the truth and you've lied about it, than just being straight up. So
and I used to have this conversation with Ariel too, because Ariel, she doesn't do it as much anymore, but she really did. Like, she really went through a phase where she would lie about everything, it seemed like. And I would tell her, I'd be like, listen, one day at school, you're not going to be the start of the problem, but it's going to be you against the other person. And you're going to come to the teacher, and the teacher's going to, and if it's serious enough, the teacher's going to involve me. And I'm going to sit down and listen. And if I can't 100% trust you because you lie about little things on the regular, then you're not going to have the backing of my support to say, yeah, Ariel wouldn't lie about that. So I hate to break it to you, that's not my daughter. I was like, so if I can't trust you, then I'm going to say, I don't really know who it is. And you're not going to like that, but that's the character that you built. And
it's it's the whole boy who cried wolf scenario.
Yep.
So we've recently had to have that conversation with Logan about, some kid he was playing out on the park, and some kid like roughed him a bit because, as for what Logan said to us when he came back upset, was that this kid did it for no reason. What it turns out is this kid did it for a reason because Logan was being obnoxious, which he can be. He can be quite boisterous and obnoxious and stuff like that. As much as he is a sensitive little soul, he does give as good as he gets. He didn't tell us that. And like Lindsay hadn't had the word with a parent, and the kid was there at the time. The kid was like, well, no, he was like dancing there and doing the loser dance, like from Fortnite, the emote. And so I pushed him because, natural reaction, just pushed him. So he then said to Logan, one, you shouldn't have been doing that because you've encouraged this kid to be physical with you. And secondly, you lied about it. Why didn't you just tell us the truth? And so we sat down, we had the whole boy who cried wolf thing, and he didn't understand at first. He was like, so why is it a bad thing that he kept crying wolf? So, well, because when the wolf did come and ate the sheep and ate the boy, we kind of oversold it, I think. Nobody came because nobody believed him. And it was like, that's what's happening here. If you keep, like with Eric, you keep telling these tiny lies, there's going to come a point where people aren't going to have you back because they don't know if it's true or not. So.
Yeah, 100%. I had something and I lost it. There was something in my head I was going to say, but it's not there anymore. So it's gone. Oh, the other thing I tell the kids is, and I use like I won't use like real politicians because they won't know who they are anyways. But I will say there are people, a lot of people, and I think I've said this previously on the podcast, but there are a lot of people in our world, in America for sure, that do something not great that maybe might get them fired, or something like that. But then they turn around and because they're ashamed of it, because they want to hide it, then they lie about it. And then guess what? Just that now, all of a sudden, they're not fired. Now they're going to go to jail because they lied to somebody whom they shouldn't have lied about, And it's like, you guys have to understand. Now it's like, hey, you're right. It's like stealing a cookie, right? Or not stealing, but like taking a cookie when you didn't ask and you just lie about it. No, okay, nothing's going to happen. But if that perpetuates, I know this seems crazy, but if it keeps going, snowballs down, all of a sudden they're 18, 20 and nobody ever really decided to teach them what it means to lie and the consequences. Now all of a sudden they're in front of the police and they're saying something and they're asking them a question and they're lying about it. Well, now all of a sudden it's a whole new ball game, And so it's like, you guys have to understand that if you keep doing that, you lie to the wrong person, there's going to be a whole different consequence level than what it is with me right now because of your cookie. Obviously, if they're like 3, you don't tell them that because they're not going to really have any idea.
It's the butterfly effect of things, isn't it? So it's how, like you say, that snowballs into the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I brought this up because a friend shared today about how his son had downloaded Fortnite on his Switch. He could see it on the parenting app. The kid knows he's not supposed to have Fortnite, just differences in opinions about video games, which is something we'll loop to in a bit. One parent doesn't want them to have the game. Another parent does want them to have the game, or is okay with them having it because they know they can limit stuff. But anyway, the kid has downloaded this and been asked by the parent, have you downloaded this? No. Oh, okay. Are you sure? Yeah, sure. I haven't done. I just blatantly, obviously lied about it. It's just, it's just a difficult one because kids, he's like similar age to Logan, are finding a personality. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it turns out that he did it because he was worried that one parent is okay with the game, another parent isn't okay with the game. That if he asked, he was going to get told no, but he wanted to play it. So, he's done something that isn't right. He's deceitful in how he's downloaded it and then lying about it. But again, it's the whole cookie situation, is that it's not horrifically horrible, but at the same time, how do you punish somebody for finding a way around something when they shouldn't have and then lying about it?
Mm-hmm.
It's their first offense. In terms of this, they've never really done it before, and you've now got to make a really wise decision as a parent. Is like, do you over punish? Like what limit is over punishing? What limit is under punishing? And kind of, what's the you've been caught, but I want you to play this game because I know you're excited about it, and I know how I can limit aspects of the game so it's safe for you to do so. But I don't want you to feel like you've been punished for a few days and then just got away with it and carried on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really. I wish I could have had a longer conversation, but we kind of had to start off because they went off to do the summer fair that was on, and I needed to get Logan back because we had family coming. So
I can tell you what
yeah.
what I would do personally. Like I don't know what this guy did, but what I would do is be like, listen, here's the level we're at now. If you would have just said, yeah, I downloaded it, we would have had a conversation about, hey, you don't just get to download stuff without having, and that would have been it. And we might have deleted it if Mom and I couldn't come to an agreement. Maybe it would have gotten deleted. That would have been it. Nothing. Now you've lied about it, or I think you've lied about it. So now, if it comes out that you actually have, well, now we're at a different level. Now we're at consequence level, and we'll figure out what that is. Now, here's the deal, because I'm guessing at this point he has yet to tell him about the parent app. I'm gonna give you one more chance to be legit honest with me about it, and then I'm gonna roll out my evidence, and we're gonna figure out what really happened. And if it comes out that you indeed did download it, then we're at a secondary consequence level at that point. Because now I gave you a chance to be honest, and you again denied it. So whatever's about to happen here, if you legit didn't do it, you tell me you didn't do it, and we'll figure out how the heck that darn game just appeared on your Switch. But I'm gonna show you what I got when it's done, and we're gonna figure it out. And if it comes out that you did download it, you're only digging yourself a hole deeper and deeper. That's how I would handle it.
Yeah, and I'd have done exactly the same, similar. The Switch should have been removed for a few days while you let the dust settle, then have the conversation of, look. It also gives you the parents time to have a conversation of should he or shouldn't he keep the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, exactly the same as that. You initial punishment, chance to redeem in terms of like finding a way that they can apologize for what they've done sincerely, rather than just saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's easy. Coming up with an explanation as to why they did it, so you can have an understanding of the thought process they took to make those steps.
That's
just so you get to understand, because you've got to understand your kids. Your kids do things and process things differently, and think about stages of stuff differently to what you will as a parent, because you've done stuff for years. But yeah, very similar in terms of that. So.
Yeah. I think the understanding why they decided to do it and then lie about it is, Sean, I think that's super important, because that tells you in the background how you may need to reassess parenting, right? Like, so did this kid feel like there was just no way that he could come and talk to mom and dad about what he wanted to do, or he felt like even if he did, the die was cast. It didn't matter. Like his opinion didn't matter. So he was like, well, screw it. I'm just gonna go do it and then just lie about it. If that's the case, then that might be something that you as parents we need to be like, okay, wait, you have a voice. You can pitch your case. It doesn't mean you're gonna get it, but we want you to know we'll hear you fairly, openly, unbiased. We're not gonna be like, do you want this game? Yeah, no, you can't have it. Sorry. So I think that's really important because my guess is it's got to be something like that, right? He just was like, nah, I'm not gonna get this game. There's no way I'm gonna get it.
It's like I said, the feeling was that if he asked, because there was an impasse between the parents on one okay with it, one not okay with it, the likelihood would be that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
So
yeah, and maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah, and it is an important thing to do, is to get that understanding and the ability to have them to be very open. We have a very open communication relationship with Chaya in terms of like what she's up to, what she's doing, and bits and pieces like that. It's like some people scoff when, like at 16, we were happy that Chaya could have a drink with us if we were having a drink in the garden, because as much as she's 2 years underage, at least we can keep an eye on her. We know her limits with things. We know she knows her limits with things. So then when she's 18 and she is going out like she is now in Leicester, she's, she knows her own limits and she knows when to stop. So it's I think it's very similar to the same that you have to have be able to have an open conversation with your kids, because you don't want to like be in a situation where they won't speak to you if something's troubling them. They'll just mask the "I'm fine," which brings us onto a whole herd of helping kids through mental health difficulties and trauma and stuff like that. Or if something's happened to them and the person that's done, like if they're being bullied and the person that's done it is saying, you tell anybody about this and I'll make it even worse, and that's what they believe, and they don't feel like they can come to you because they won't have the support to make things better. Mm-hmm. So there's loads of stuff and it is a minefield. Parenting is a minefield in itself. But when you start getting into these kind of topics, it's even worse. It's scary, and
it is. You're right.
You can get it.
Go ahead.
You can easily get it wrong, and sometimes it's hard to reverse the getting it wrong quickly or enough. So it's just, don't want to panic people out there, but think about things. And if you've got a partner, discuss it with them. Like or if you've got a friend, I'm glad that they spoke to me about it today, because it's like you get a third opinion on things. So.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's I've done that before. I've come down too hard. There have been times and I've like chatted with the Duke, or somebody's like, yeah, it happened. We didn't really think it was that big of a deal. And I'm like, oh, okay, well maybe it wasn't entirely as maybe the hammer came down a bit hard on that one. And if that happens, you gotta be the dad and be like, hey, listen, okay, maybe you did the wrong thing, but maybe dad overreacted a bit too. So let's find some middle ground here and figure out where we really should be. So,
and that act in itself is huge, because in their head they'll be like, wow, like this went from 0 to 60 in no time, and I don't understand why, because in my head I don't think this is as bad as it could have been. I've done things that are worse than this, and you've reacted differently. You've reacted less than you have now. So for them to come to you, for you to come to them and be like, and I think we've had this discussion before in another episode, is like to sit down with Ariel and the helping out with Charles. I can remember that episode. I think we spoke about this. That they can see that you're human and you make mistakes and you come in and apologize. So you then build that relationship of, well, I trust that if you're wrong, you'll tell me, and now you trust if I'm wrong, and I can tell you that it won't be as bad.
Yeah. I mean, that what you said earlier really is, I think, so spot on. And you're kind of living all ages, right? Like right now, maybe it's a cookie, maybe it's as bad as bullying for Logan, but then when you get to Jaya's age, that spectrum opens up a whole nother level. And if you're not at a point where she can talk to you,
Yeah.
because you
I mean,
haven't
Jay is
figured that out.
Jay's
Then
100 miles away from me at any time.
yeah.
So I need her to be comfortable that if she's in a bit of a pickle, she can ring and ask. I mean, we had an instance with her just this like last 2 weeks where she didn't ring and answer, and she's done something, and it's not horrific, but that she could have just asked, and we'd have helped. So she cut her own hair with a pair of like kitchen scissors
It took her
because it
that long
needed.
to do that? Oh,
She's got
doing good. I did that when I was like 8. So she's doing
Yeah,
good.
well, because she's only just started working, she's not had much money in terms of stuff, and she's
Gotcha.
been, we've been sending her stuff. Her grandma's been sending her stuff. People have been sending like food packages and stuff for her and things like that. And she needed a haircut, and because she'd wanted to look presentable for work, she was like, "I can do this myself." And but then it's like, instead of it being straight, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
I was
when
older than
she
8,
came
but
up
I was like in junior high, and I know exactly that thing because I was like, oh, I didn't want to have hair as long. I'm just gonna go like this, and then one side was up here and one side was down here. So yeah.
So when she came up for her birthday over the weekend, and we kind of spotted it, we said to her, why didn't you just ask? We'd have sent you the money to go to the hairdressers. Just it's as simple as that. So we still have instances like that, and Jay is 19 now, so still a learning curve as a parent.
That's right. Also, moral of the story: tip your barber or hairdresser. It's not as easy as you think it is.
No, I don't have to worry about it. I joked and said like me cutting my hair is like £11 a year.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Well, at least you don't get one side too short and one side too long. So
No, I just end up taking chunks out of my head with a razor.
yeah. I bet. I could see that. That's a whole. I almost asked a question that would have been a real squirrel thing, so we're not going there.
Okay.
But yeah. No, I think to get back to the lying thing, which is where we were at. I think what you said about trying to figure out why they did it is real important because it leads to all this stuff. And sometimes it's just a silly reason, and that's fine. Or sometimes, whatever. And I think sometimes they have to understand that the lie will get them a worse consequence than just telling the truth. But then also they have to understand that if you did just take a biscuit, it's not going to be the end of the world, right? You know what I mean? Like if they take a biscuit and they're like sitting there with a biscuit in their hand because it's half eaten probably, or there's like crumbs that lead like right behind them, which is normally how all this stuff works with my daughter. And it's like, hey, did you take a biscuit? Mm-mm. Like, you really didn't take a biscuit because you got like half of it in your hand, and I feel like half of it's on the ground behind you right now. I don't know what you ate.
So what happened here, Dad, is that this goat came in and it just started eating the biscuits and leaving crumbs everywhere.
Yeah. And it's like if they can understand that they're like, yeah, I was hungry. I had a biscuit. Okay. No, next time ask maybe, but you're good. And it's just like, okay, if they understand that the consequence of doing the silly thing is not near as bad as the consequence of lying about doing the silly thing, then I think then you can start.
We always make the punishment for the lying side of it worse than the punishment for the act that they were lying about, because I want to stamp out the lying part more than you took a biscuit. It's fine. Whatever. I eat more biscuits than anyone else in the house. I am what Lindsay calls the biscuit thief, because she'll buy them on a Saturday when she does the food shop, and by Tuesday they're nearly all gone. And she's like, she'll say to me, "Have you been eating the biscuits again?" And I'm like, "No, yes, no."
No. We had this conversation. I know you have a form of them, but not them. Fig Newtons. So I can't remember. What do you guys call them? Do you remember? Or do you know what I'm talking about?
Fig rolls.
Fig rolls. That's it. Yeah. Anyways, so Becca bought these Fig Newtons, and it's like a three row pack. There's got to be, I don't know, probably 30. I probably don't want to admit that, but probably 30. I wasn't the only one that ate them, but I probably ate 25 of them over 2 days. I was just like grabbing 3 as I walked by, because they didn't put them up on the freezer where I don't touch them. They left them on the counter. And so by like day 2, Becca's like, what happened to all the Fig Newtons? I'm like, let's just not talk about the Fig Newtons, okay? And I just like took the empty packages and threw it in the recycle.
Don't speak to me about it. I have not been off the toilet for the last 24 hours
Yeah.
because I've eaten more dry fruit than I would like to.
Yeah, let's just not talk about the Fig Newtons, and we don't need to ask the kids if they've had any because their response is not going to be a lie when they say, yeah, we had one the other day.
Yeah.
Which means I had
What
the
happened
25.
was this raccoon came through the window.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, no, you're totally right. I agree. The lie is much worse than what they did, at that point, obviously. But even at any point, I mean, even if they did something like much worse, I guess I still would say the lie is the thing. I mean, you can always deal with the why of the bad behavior or the bad decision, but the why of lying about the bad decision is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole nother piece to the puzzle.
We only have to look at Adolescence, the drama that we both watched that was on TV.
Oh yeah,
everybody absolutely. Mm-hmm. Where he blatantly said to his father, like, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. But he sat there in a police station in an interview room and he did do it. It's like, you do not want to get to that point. And I know that's a million miles away from stealing a biscuit, but it's like you said, there's just the constant knock-on effect of, well, I got away with stealing the biscuit. Next time I'll go into my mom's purse and I'll take some money out. And then next time I'll take I'll steal some of my dad's beers when they're a little bit older. And then it's, well, I can learn to drive. I'll just take the car. And, it then becomes that, a car in the hands of an inexperienced young driver that's potentially drunk is a weapon, and you end up killing somebody. And then in that situation, it's you've got to that point, and it's all stemmed from taking a biscuit. So
you know what I want to see? This is what I believe you just described. Is my wife's normal trek down worst case scenario, legitimately. This is exactly I think that's what happens in my wife's head. I'm all of a sudden I'm man, he took the biscuit. I wonder why I did that. He's gonna die. He's gonna die of a driver's. He's gonna drive. He's gonna drink and drive and die. That's what's gonna happen. Or he's gonna kill somebody and die. And I'm wow, I thought we were talking about a biscuit, but I mean, sure, we can talk about that too. I don't know how you got there, but I'm happy to have the conversation.
Well, now you have audio evidence of how he can get that.
And but no, you're not wrong. The sentiment you're making is legit, yeah. I think. And so yeah. And so I guess kind of I'm just trying to make points or find points out of what we've been chatting about. So just having a conversation when one of your kids does lie, having conversation about why, like we were talking about, trying to figure out what that is, making parent adjustments if needed to kind of make them feel more safe, because it is kind of a safe thing, maybe not physically safe, but finding that safe space so that they don't feel like they have to.
Self-preservation. That's what you'll find is most people lie for self-preservation. They don't.
That's a great point.
They either lie to avoid conflict, they lie to pass the blame, or they lie because they don't want to admit to the truth themselves, because if you can lie about it to somebody else, you can lie about it to yourself, and your self-conscious and guilt can go along with it. You kind of learn to live in that lie. So
yeah, that is
self-preservation.
That is really, it all boils down to self-preservation. Not really. That's good, because even if you're passing blame, you're just trying to preserve yourself. You're just willing to sink somebody else to do it.
Exactly.
That's a great point. That's really true. That's 100% true what lying is. Huh. I never thought about that. It blew my mind, Sean. That's what just happened there. So yeah,
good for something.
You're good for a lot of things, sir.
I know. I'm just joking.
Yeah, so there's that, but then there's also this other part which we were talking about in the beginning, kind of jokingly, kind of just there's this other part where you tell your kids, don't lie, tell me the truth, blah blah blah, but then grandma gives you I don't know, I can't think of some random gift that you get, and you're like, just tell them that you like it, Johnny. It's okay. Just tell her that you like
Yeah,
it, you know? So there's
that
the
one of
other
those
part you
itchy
have to
Christmas
teach
jumpers that
kids.
nobody
Yeah.
likes.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Christmas sweater with jingle bells and moose all over it or something, right? And then we have to kind of teach our kids like the difference between a lie and a white lie or the innocent lie or whatever. And it's like it's just this funny like. Also, we're like, I'm not gonna go there because I don't know who's listening to this, so never mind. And so there's so there's these two like juxtapositions that you have to teach
Yeah.
kids about.
So yeah, it's that whole thing of the white lie. I don't know if you want to call a bad lie a different color of lie, but the whole white lie kind of thing is, you're protecting. You're just protecting
It's a red
information.
lie and a green lie. I don't know. I just made that.
Yeah, red lie, green lie. Oh wow, I haven't watched season 3 yet. By the way, I need to get to that. Oh god damn it.
Sorry, I have
So
started
no,
it, but that's a whole other squirrel moment that I'm gonna try not to go into.
Yeah, so the whole white lie thing is preservation of innocent kind of stuff for me. So, I want to buy these. For me, it's like somebody wants to buy something for themselves, and I'm like, oh no, don't get them just now. Just wait, they might crop up in the sale, or you don't know when you've got your birthday or an anniversary, or it's like Mother's Day is around the corner. Yeah, but just hang on, they might drop in price where you kind of like not wanting to ruin a surprise because you've already got them and they're at home, right, ready to give. So that to me is the opposite to a normal lie, where you're trying to preserve yourself. You're trying to preserve an innocence. So we do it with kids, with fictional tales of things and stuff like that. So I don't want to go into the details of those because there is certain things that
That's what I
sworn
was
to
talking
secrecy
about when I was like, I was gonna get into that. I was like, I don't know who's listening, so never mind.
So we are sworn to secrecy not to tell things that we have been told by these very important people. But yeah, and it's like you say, it's trying to teach them how to use it. So you kind of get them on board with, don't tell mum that we've got this. She's going to ask about it. It's just you don't tell her about it, or you try and play it down. That's teaching them to be able to do the white lie. And that's an absolutely safe way of teaching them to bluff, basically. Makes a good poker player. You can bluff your way out of that. That's fine. And it avoids the negative impact of telling a bad lie that's to self-preserve and potentially throw somebody else under the bus.
Yeah. And I don't. I think, does it come naturally? Does white lies? I mean, does lying? I think lying comes kind of naturally, to be honest. So because self-preservation comes naturally, so lying kind of comes naturally.
It's a survival technique.
Yeah, exactly. So... It's against our like normal. I don't know, not will, but it's against our normal idea of like what we should do to be like, yeah, I did that, my bad, because you're right. Yeah,
I mean, we had a whole conversation once upon a time with my ex-partner. Like Emily was saying things at one house and saying things at another. I don't think she was trying to play people off with each other, but like we were having conversations with her mum, and we were like, that's not true at all. That's not what's happening. And she'd be like, well, Emily can't lie. She's only such and such old. She can't lie. It's like she can, because she is. Yeah. It's like she's capable of that. She can speak, therefore she can lie.
You don't even gotta, I mean, if you can, babies lie. I mean, babies lie. They're like, they're supposed to cry when they're hungry or they need something, and sometimes they're just like, you know what? I just want cuddles, so I'm gonna sit here and cry, so you'll pick me up. I mean, everybody cries. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
So and it is hard. It's hard because they're creating a personality, and you want to be able to support the creation of the personality and what they do and things like that, because you want your kids to be their own person. You want them to find where they fit in the world and where they fit with other people around them, especially social groups and stuff like that. And even with family groups, in terms of, they might act differently with certain members of family in different ways because they're trying to find how their shiny little square personality, well, not square personality, their shiny little jigsaw shaped personality fits into the rest of the jigsaw of life. So, and you don't want to dampen that by trying to stop them from learning these techniques, but where to use it, how to use it, and understanding the consequences of using it badly. That's kind of what you want to teach them, so they can stop and think before they make that decision.
There you go. Filter. That's what we try to tell our kids. Yeah. Think about what you say before you actually say what you say. Yeah. Figure it out. Is it a white lie? Is it not a white lie? Is it just a real lie? Also, is there another way you can say it? Is there another thing you can say that's not as, is there like another thing, like, what do you want to say? I'm trying to think of the way to say this.
Doing really good.
Do you like? Yeah, I know. Do you like the sweat? Okay, so here's the thing. Like, and this takes art, and this isn't like, but it's something we try to teach our kids. And they're not there yet. But, like Grandma buys you the Jingle Bell sweater that you absolutely hate. Do you like the sweater? Well, it feels really soft. Thanks, Grandma. Like, no, I don't like the sweater, but it does feel soft. So I didn't lie. It's like there's also that too of like helping people find the way to compliment something instead of just being like, this sweater sucks. I don't know what to tell you, Grandma. Or, yeah, I love the sweater, Grandma.
But I'm a little bit too warm right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw it in the trash and keep it safe there for the rest of its life.
Time. Yeah. I still have a sweater that my late grandma from my mum's side bought me, and it's awful. Like, I should have said something at the time, but now it's one of the only things I have left that she ever got me. So, like, I wear it around the house as much as it's itchy and intolerable sometimes. But it's all I have. So, I wish I'd have been able to say more, and she'd have probably bought me things that were more in line with what I liked. Then I would still have stuff that I liked. But there you go. That's why that's how you should learn to do it, because dead people.
Well, we had a whole secondary topic about like how to choose how to work with your spouse if you guys don't agree on video games, but I don't know that we have a lot of time to do that. We're already at 42 minutes.
Oh no. So what we'll do is we'll say that for that topic next week, because then we can it gives me a chance to maybe find examples, because Lindsay's pretty cool and relaxed with most video games, because she kind of 9 times out of 10 doesn't understand and just lets me take the reins with that one. So,
oh wow, well there you go. Yeah. I got plenty of examples, so we're good. We good. You find what you can, and I will fill all. I will give you all mine, and you can fill in the holes. How about that?
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, everybody. I mean, if you have an experience of kids lying, and are not lying, if you've got a kid that's basically just does not lie and is like pretty much, hey, Grandma, this sweater sucks. Thanks very much. Wham. If they're pretty brave faced like that, I'd like to hear some of those stories, because from the mouths of kids is one of my favorite topics to look at on YouTube shorts and stuff like that. Kids that are just brutally honest. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. We hope Wednesday's going well. It's just downward. It's a downward slope now until the weekend. So enjoy yourself, and we'll talk to you soon.
Adios, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Dad Crossing. We're here to remind you that this podcast is made by dads for dads. It's a place where all of us can come together, share a laugh, and tackle the wild ride that is fatherhood. If you want to keep the conversation going, or just need a safe space to chat or ask for help, you are always welcome to reach out. You can find me, Sean, at Sean_Abbott, and you can find my good friend Nick at Nick10Do. And of course, give our social media platforms a good look over, because that is where we share all the updates, all the laughs, and all the things dad life. That is, everything is at Dad Crossing. For anything more, feel free to drop us a message at team@dadcrossing.com. And until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. We'll see you in the next episode of Dad Crossing.